Hey everybody, this is Mr. McKee again with Net 125. Today I'm going to be going over Packet Tracer 2.5.5, which is configure initial switch settings. All right, first thing I want to show you guys, since we're only on our third Packet Tracer so far this semester, is where to get that PKA file. All right, so click on course content. I'm logged into my Net 125 course. Click right there. Click on load introduction to networking course. All right, and see how we have our navigation pane on the left. If we go to, it's 2.5.5, so if I go to section or module 2, section 5, page 5, it should be right there. All right, and it is. All right, and if you notice when this thing goes to that site, it's just scrolling down through that 2.5 section. All right. So if you have any questions on how to do the packet tracer, it actually shows you. See, these are basic switch settings. All right. So pretty much that's the bottom of that page. All right. So just to reiterate again, this is your PDF instructions. All right, I've made Word documents, which I put in Moodle. I'd rather use those. I've already noted how many answers and which questions to answer. All right, click the little down arrow, looks like a little download. Click that, and that'll download your packet tracer. All right. In this case, it's a 2.5.5 packet tracer configure initial switch settings.pka. All right. So as soon as it downloads, I can just click on it, and it's associated with packet tracer application, so it'll start up. All right. All right. Notice again when you first click in packet tracer, I don't know if you can hear a little ding on my screen on my side, but it's telling me something's open that I can't get into packet tracer. What it is, it's always this user profile window comes up, and what you do, just get in the habit of going in there and saying, okay, what's your name? Put in there. Doesn't really matter yet, I wouldn't think, but now as soon as you do that, it's going to reset the packet tracer. So make sure you do it at first. But when you start going in here to check results and do a screenshot, actually it's not even showing up right now, but it'll show up right here. It'll say, Mr. McKee, you've completed this activity, or whatever username you put in. All right, and notice right here, these are all the graded out items. All right, which actually, you know what? Look right there, completion 0%. So it's going to actually grade based on my configurations somewhat. Some of these packet tracers are only answers to questions. Some of them are only grading based on configuration you enter into the devices, and some of them are a mix of both. This one's a mix of both. Usually, if it's only like 1 or 2 questions and it's not that completely relevant, I won't require that just because it's easier for me to grade by the configuration. But if it's like half and half, and especially if it's only answers to questions, I require you to turn in 3 things: your Word document, which is right here, your Word document with your answers in here. I've noted where the answers need to go. Obviously you have to read it and know what the question is. All right, put it in there in different colors so it's easier for me to discern what your answer is. That the actual .pka file, just in case there's an issue, and then when you go in here to check results, it should show you when, okay, you're complete. You can do that, or you can turn in this, your score. There'll be 72 out of 72 when you get 100%, hopefully. All right, and if you go in here and have almost everything right, it'll tell you what's wrong. All right. But hopefully, if everything goes right, we won't have to look in there. But trust me, I look in there not quite often, but once in a while. All right. So with that said, let me go ahead and get this thing situated. I like to put this on the right side always. My questions over here. I don't know why I didn't like that. All right, make it a little bit bigger. Now, some people say they can't see my configurations. You should be able to enter the configuration based on what it is, or the instruction sheet. But you might have to zoom in if you want to see my configurations. But yeah, I can't really. There's no real good way to zoom in. I mean, I can zoom in right there, kind of. All right, well, that looks better. Like if I open that up, maybe that's. But see, the thing is, when you open up terminal or you open up command prompt, that might be a little hard to see. All right, but anyways, let's get to it. All right, so we're going to be configuring a switch, and first thing I do, a lot of these packet tracers, they're going to have a addressing table at the top, right underneath the instruction heading for the packet tracer. That's not listed here, I don't think. So I look at that, and then I key in on the topology. All right, how the topology is set up. You just need to, just by doing it, you'll start just being able to point out, okay, two PCs connected to two switches. You'll look and see if they're converged or not. You know, if they got some kind of red. If it's anything but a green triangle, something's either not configured right, or something's not been fully configured or converged yet. You can do the fast forward time right there, that button, if you want to. And just to let you see, like if I do reset, initially you'll see everything's red. All right. And then we'll wait for it to converge. And this is trying to show you like real time what's happening, like how long it'll take. See, now it's doing a DORA request, DHCP request. You'll learn what that DORA means, hopefully, this semester. But it's sending out, okay, anybody need IP addresses? If so, I'm going to give them out. Things like that. The switch is going to figure out, okay, what MAC address, which is assigned to a certain network card on a PC, which one's on which port of the switch. So it starts to make a switching table, an ARP table. All right, so now it's converged. Now if I reset it again, and I want to speed up the process, fast forward time, bam, it's already done. All right, so that's not real life right there, but that's, if you want to speed up the process, that's how you do it. All right, so we're going to be doing a verify default switch configuration, configure basic switch configurations, configure a message of the day, which is MOTD banner, save configuration files to non-volatile RAM or NVRAM, configure S2, which in Packet Tracer, if you see PC1, all those are PCs obviously. S1 denotes a switch, or SW1 switch. R1 or anything R is a router. All right, and remember, switches look like boxes. Routers look like little flattened down cylinders. PCs look like monitors with a little keyboard in front. All right. So in this activity, you will perform basic switch configuration tasks. You will secure access to the command line interface, or CLI, and console ports using encrypted and plain text passwords. You will also learn how to configure messages for users logging into the switch. These message banners are also used to warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. Note, in Packet Tracer, the Catalyst 2960 switch, which I believe those are 2960 switches, we'll look at them. Use iOS version 12.2 by default. If required, the iOS version can be updated from the file server in the Packet Tracer topology. The switch can then be configured to boot to iOS version 5.0 if that version is required. All right. I'm just here to tell you version 12.2 is an old version. 15, I don't know, 15.4, 15.5 maybe is like the most current version. But starting out, it really doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Most of it works. All right, instructions: verify default switch configuration. Enter privileged exec mode. All right. So step 1, you can access all switch commands from privileged exec mode. However, because many of the privileged commands configure operating parameters, privileged access should be password protected to prevent unauthorized use. That's in real life. You definitely want to do that. The privileged exec command set includes the commands available in user exec mode, many additional commands, and the configure command through which access to the configuration modes is gained. All right, so click S1. All right, and what I do too, when this thing first boots up, it'll show you all the stuff, and you can go down through here and see what model it is. It's 2960, 24 port, 26 ports with the 2 upload ports, switch version 12.2, like the image name, stuff like that. All right, this is all about when it boots up, where the RAM's located, the flash memory, all that stuff. All right, a whole bunch of more stuff going down through there. All right. If you do this on a live switch or a router, it's going to take a while to boot up. It's not going to be like instantaneous. All right. So we're in user exec mode. All right. Notice it looks like just like a play button. All right. So S1 and click the CLI tab. Press enter. Enter privileged exec mode by entering the enable command. All right. So notice we're at the hashtag or the privileged exec mode. Note that the prompt changed to reflect privileged exec mode. All right, examine the current switch configuration. Enter the show config command, and you'll get used to using a bunch of show commands. And you'll learn shortcuts too, because after a while you won't want to put in the complete command. All right, so if you and I'm using my roller on my mouse to go up and down, but it gets kind of funny where it started. Okay, that's where we put this configuration in, or this command, show running config. It started there under building configuration. All right, the size of the configuration, so it's pretty small, 1080 bytes. All right, it goes down through there, and here's where your if you're putting any configurations in, here's where they start. All right, and that shows you all the stuff that's running. Notice how it says more, so it knows you gotta hit the space bar. You go down one page. That's all your interfaces. All right, down to 013. Everything in this case, the newer versions are different, or newer hardware is different, but this has like a 0-1 is the first interface. Interface fast Ethernet 01. And see how it goes down to 24, and then you have 2 fast Ethernet will do up to 100 megabytes or megabits. Gigabit, on the other hand, 01 and 02, they'll do a 1,000 gigabits or 1,000 megabits, which is 1 gigabit. All right, more stuff. See it? It's pretty long. All right, and once you get to the end, obviously it says end, and then it takes you back to the privileged exec CLI command line. All right, how many fast Ethernet interfaces does the switch have? Well, you guys saw that up there. How many gigabit Ethernet interfaces does the switch have? You can see that on my screen. What is the range of values for the VTY or virtual terminal lines, VTY lines? All right, these are VTY lines, 0 to 4 and then 5 to 15. And we'll learn more about that too, how to remotely connect to the switch. In real life, you really can't do what I'm doing right now because I'm connected to the switch itself, but you would need to, unless the switch had some kind of monitor hooked directly up to it, that's the only way you can do this. This would be in real life, that PC right there, well, either the PC is remotely logged into the switch, or the PC or laptop or whatever has a console cable hooked directly into the switch. All right. And the reason you use a console cable, say if you don't know the IP addresses or something within networking is not working correctly, that's when you use it. And trust me, you'll be using that in real life. All right. So which command will display the current contents of non-volatile random access memory? All right. So the command we did, let me get back to the switch. Which command will display the current contents of non-volatile random access memory, or NVRAM? That would show the running config. All right. And then why does the switch respond with startup config not present? Let's see where it says that. All right, actually, which command will display current contents of the non-volatile RAM? That is actually the show startup config. I think I said show running config, show startup config. And the reason it's not, why does this switch respond with startup config not present? It's because it hasn't been saved. The configuration file was not saved to the non-volatile RAM yet. All right, that's why. And we should, I don't know if we're going to do that here, but you're going to use copy running config to startup config eventually. But I don't know if we do it in here, and then you won't get that error message. All right, where was I? All right. So part 2, create a basic switch config. All right, so let's go back to switch. All right. And if you see everything that's listed, like when you see the like the command line, that's usually it's wanting you to enter whatever it's listing. So configure terminal. All right. Notice we're in global config. All right. Now we're gonna rename the switch to host name with host name to switch 1. All right. Notice my CLI turn changed from switch to S1. Now that's the name of the switch. All right. Go exit back to privilege exec. All right, we're back at the hashtag. All right, secure access to the console line. To secure access to the console line, access config line mode and set the console password to let me in. All right, so and if you do config T, that does the same thing. That's abbreviated for configure terminal. All right, so if you type in line space console 0, all right, password, and then whatever you put after password, and then space, that'll be your actual password. So let me in. Just take your time and read that. Make sure it's right. Log in. That's just telling it it's going to be logging in with the local password, and then exit to back out, and then exit to back out. Your privileged exec again. Why is the login command required? And the reason being for that is it's for the password to actually the system be able to check that password. You have to use the password command and the login. All right. More complicated, in-depth logging procedures, which I've never done, like maybe a LDAP connection. It would be completely different, I guess. But logging in locally, just like that, with a local password, username, or not even username, just password. That's how you do it. All right. So step 3, verify the console access is secured. So exit out of this. And notice we're in user config. So immediately it's wanting us to log in. All right, notice if the switch did not prompt you for a password, then you did not configure the login parameter in step 2. I did, so I'm getting a password. User access verification. All right, so let me in. All right, then it takes me to user config. All right, so let's go to step 4. Secure privileged mode access. All right, so we're going to use the enable and set the password in there. All right, so let's see. And it says note the 0 is a 0 and not a capital O. All right, just you have to be able to tell the difference. The 0 is like skinny in the center. It's been squashed together. A capital O is actually like a complete circle, which I would never use that for naming or a password for that reason. All right. And it says, let's see, this password will not grade as correct until after you encrypt it in step 8. All right. So just know that. And I haven't been looking at my grading, but if you go back here and you look at the activity, see how I'm at 18%. So some people like to look at that while they're doing it. I'll close it down for now. You just can't completely close it down. All right, so let's go enable, configure terminal. So I'm doing just configure T. All right, enable. So we're saying the enable password, which is the privileged exec password mode for that privileged exec mode, is going to be password C1 $C0. And see how it doesn't. Some systems have you enter it twice. That only has you enter it once. So make sure you know for a fact what you entered. All right. And then it wants us to go to exit. All right. Verify the privileged mode access is secure. Enter the exit mode again to log out of the switch. All right. So I'm completely out. To log in, let me in is the password. And then if I do enable, it requires me a password C1 $C0. All right, yay. Luckily I did it right. Sometimes I type it incorrectly. All right. So verify that we did that. Exit, press enter, ask for the password, done. All right, the first password in the console password you entered for line console 0. Enter the password to return to the exec mode, user exec mode. All right, so back there, and then let me in. All right, so we're back where he wants us to be. Enter the command to access privilege mode. Well, it's having us do that again. Okay. So C1 $C0. All right, so we're back there, which is D. Enter the second password. Okay, we did that. Verify your configuration by examining the contents of the running configuration file. So now show running. And what I can do to shorten that up, show run, that does the same thing. All right. Notice right here, we changed the host name to S1, so that's showing up. We're changed our enable password to that. We made the line console 0 password let me in, and with the login also. All right, so one issue about that, if anybody can view this privileged exec mode, they can see that. All right, so we want to encrypt all those passwords, and hopefully it gets to that. Let's see. Notice that the console and the enable passwords are both in plain text. This could pose a security risk if someone is looking over your shoulder or obtains access to config files stored in the backup location. All right. So step 6, configure an encrypted password to secure access to privilege mode. Okay. The enable password should be replaced with a newer encrypted secret password using the enable secret command. Set the enable secret password to it's a secret. Okay, so we're going to encrypt it. So let's go to config T and see how it's already starting to do the shortcut commands like I was doing. All right, notice we got config in parentheses, enable secret, so that encrypts it. It's a, make sure you type it in right. It's a secret. It's a secret. All right, hit enter, exit. All right. Note the enable secret password overrides the enable password. If both are configured on the switch, you must enter the enable secret password to enter privileged exec mode. All right, so it overrode it. All right, verify that the enable secret password is added to the config file. Enter the show run config as show run. Notice again, it's doing a shortcut, show run. And what I'm seeing right now, I kind of figured that would happen. It didn't tell us to log back out, so notice we can still see that. We shouldn't be able to see that. Well, no, I take that back. That's the actual password. That's the encrypted password. This is the old one, but that one didn't work anymore. So that's fine. Notice this is encrypted. All right, so we're good. We're good. All right. So why? Let's see. What is displayed for the secret enable secret password? And it's talking about the new one. All right, right there. And if you're in my security class, we could break that password. Probably. I would think. All right. It's not a very secure password. All right. Why is the enable secret password displayed differently from what we configured? Well, because it's encrypted. All right. Encrypt the enable and console passwords. So as you notice in step 7, the enable secret password was encrypted, but the enable and console passwords were still in plain text. We will now encrypt these plain text passwords using the service password encryption command. And what it wants us to do, if you notice right here, no service password encryption is like noted right there, so you know for a fact it's not turned on. So seeing these in plain text is kind of like you figure that's going to show up like that. All right, so let's do config T service password encryption. All right. If you configure any more passwords on the switch, will they be displayed in the configuration file as plain text or in encrypted form? Well, first, let's go back to privileged exec, show run. Notice now how these are encrypted. This one's also encrypted. All right. I'm just looking at them, make sure they're different. All right, yeah. All right. So will they be displayed in the config file as plain text or encrypted form? They will be all displayed in encrypted form from now on. And notice after I did that show run, instead of it saying no service password encryption, it took off the no and it says service password encryption, and that's encrypting all these passwords. All right. And what I'm going to do is Control C to just to break out of that, to go back to the command line. All right, so we're going to configure the message of the day banner. Part 3, Step 1, configure a message of the day banner. The Cisco iOS command set includes a feature that allows you to configure messages to anyone logging onto the switch Cs. These messages are called message of the day or message of the day banners. Enclose the banner text in quotations or use a delimiter different from any character appearing in the message of the day string. All right. And the delimiter it's talking about is like right there. They use parentheses. Or I'm sorry, quotes. But you can use hashtags if you want. They just can't. If you use delimiter, you can't use that delimiter again as text inside of your message. You can use exclamation points, things like that. So let's do banner. And if you notice when I'm typing this in, say if I started typing banner, B-A-N-N, and if I hit tab, since that's a unique name for that command, it auto-populates. All right, M-O, and I hit tab, and it types in TD for me. I do that a lot of times just to make sure I'm on the right configuration mode. All right, and also if you tab over and nothing happens, and it's a unique name, you probably might be typing it in incorrectly. All right, this is a secure system. Authorized access only. And packet tracer, a lot of times it'll tell you, like in little notes, but you got to make sure. Sometimes it grades based on exactly how that reads. So if you spell it incorrectly, it might not grade your packet tracer correctly. All right, get to the end of that. Make sure you have delimiters on your message. Anything between the quotes, in this case, is a message. Hit enter. All right, when will this banner be displayed? Why should every switch have a message of the day banner? Well, let's go exit. All right, let me in. All right, notice right here, there's your banner. It's showing up as soon as you log into the switch. And the reason every switch should have it, it just tells people, hey, this is a secure system, or hey, this is a test lab system. It tells people to keep people out, but a lot of times it tells people maybe if you're using a production system in a lab system, you can know you're on the lab system or you're on the production system. All right, so let me in, and then back into user config or user exec. User exec. I always say that wrong. All right. So save and verify configuration files to NVRAM. Verify that the configuration is accurate using the show run command. Save the configuration file. You have completed the basic configuration of the switch. Now back up the running config file to NVRAM to ensure that the changes made are not lost if the system is rebooted and loses power. All right, so copy running. And notice how I was hitting tab. I have to go to enable. All right, and what was it? What was the password? C1 $, C0. Enter. Oh, no, it's not that. What did I say? It's a secret. That's it. AC. It's a secret. All right, there we go. All right. Notice I was on the wrong in the wrong mode, but then I started typing it and I knew something was wrong because it would not auto populating in the command. All right, so now if I do, you get down here. So copy running, and see I hit tab. I typed in RNN. That's all I typed in, and it populated that. So copy the running config to. Don't type in to. Just this is what it's telling the system to start up. So copy the running system, which is running right now, to the startup config, which we're going to save. So when you boot this up for the first time, it loads startup config. All right, destination name. By default, it's going to be startup-config. Hit enter to accept that. It says OK. And what I'm doing too is I'm verifying that these instructions are correct. I try not to follow the instructions. Oh yeah, the teacher's manual is not exactly right. Whenever something changes, there's always some little errors here and there, but it makes it fun for the instructors to figure out what it actually is supposed to be. Okay, so what is the shortest abbreviated copy of the copy? And I believe you can do copy RS. Wait, copy. I thought you could do copy RS. Maybe not. Let's try cop RS. All right, so playing around with it a little bit, I believe it's a later version. You should be able to hit copy RS, but it's not working. On 12.2, you can do copy run start. That'll work. And hit enter, and it'll copy it, the running config to the startup config. But if you do copy question mark, and see, I can hit tab over. Yeah, see, RS wouldn't work because there's more than one S. All right, so as long as you do copy run start, that'll be right. All right. Okay. So that answers that. Examine the startup config file. Show start. So notice I put show start. That's the startup config we just saved from the running config. Notice encryption, password, service password encryption. Banner message of the date is noted right there. Password, console password. All right, so that's that. So I put an answer right there, but you could put the same thing for that for both of these. Examine the startup config file. Show startup config, and which command will display the contents of NVRAM. Show startup config. All right. Are all the changes that were entered recorded in the file? Yes. All right, and then part 5, configure S2. You've completed configuration on S1. You now configure S2. If you cannot remember the commands, refer to parts 1 through 4 for assistance. All right, so let's do S2. When I open this thing up, it should be the same as S1, but version, model, all that good stuff. Hit enter to get to the user exec. All right, so we want to go enable configure terminal, And now we want to do host name S2, protect access to the console using the log me in password, line console 0. Password let me in, log in. Always remember to put login after that. Enable password. Wait, configure and enable password and then enable. Did I just jump ahead? Alright. Password let me in. Configure and enable. Alright. So enable password. Enable password. C1 $C0. Alright, that's good. Alright. Enable secret password of it's a secret. Enable password secret. Oh, I'm sorry, enable secret. It's a secret. Alright, that works. It's a secret. It's a secret. Alright, configure the appropriate message to those logging onto the switch. So banner, MOTD, message of the day. I always like to do pound signs. Always use an unauthorized. Access is prohibited. With a couple exclamation points. The ending delimiter on the end. Alright, that looks fine. Encrypt all plain text passwords. So service, password, encryption. Alright. Ensure that this configuration is correct. Let's exit, show run. Alright, so we got encrypt all plain text passwords. S2 is the host name. Protect access to the console. That's encrypted down there. Alright, there's our banner. Message of the day. Alright. Encrypt all plain text passwords. That's service password encryption right there. So it looks like we're good. So save the configuration file to avoid loss if the switch is powered down. So we could go more with the spacebar. I'm going to do Control C to break out of that. Copy running config to startup config. Hit enter. All right, and then that should be good. All right, what we don't want to do though now is go over to this right here. See how now it shows completion 100%? That's very good. That's what we want to see. Now if I were to go to check results, it should say, congratulations, whoever logged in, congratulations, Mr. McKee, you've completed the activity. All right, so what you want to do is Control Print Screen. Control Print Screen. And you can, if you want to, I don't know if this will make it easier or more complicated. You can paste this into this Word document if you would like. All right, to the bottom of it. I don't know. That's not gonna work. Like Control V. See how it shows? Does it show 100%? Yeah. Congratulations. If you get 100%, it'll show you completed the activity. You can do it there, or you can paste that into Word and save it as a picture and upload that screenshot like that. What I need is the .pka file completed. I need a copy of this completion, and I need a copy of the Word document with the answers to the 14 questions listed. And that's it. All right, this went a little bit longer than I expected, but some of this stuff, especially like when it's a new course, a new version, some of the stuff might be a little off. And I like to go by the instructions just to make sure they're correct for the next person. All right, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.